Welcome everyone, Simon here from the Whales of Wall Street. We have a video here for EWT EnergyWeb, one of our favorite projects on the channel. Before we go into a couple of the topics that have come out in the last week or two for EnergyWeb, just a reminder to check out the other videos on the channel as and when you can. After this one, of course, you need to watch this one first. And do make sure you smash that subscribe button if you haven't done so already, to get notified of all the videos we have coming out as and when we do them into your notifications off YouTube. So guys, let's go straight into this one. A couple of topics. I'm going to start off with the staking update. So if you remember the video we did maybe 2 weeks ago, mentioning about the green, silver and gold pools that were going to be starting after the consortia staking finished. So that finished on the 18th of December. And the green pool is now open. You can access that through that. I'll put this link into the comments and description of this video, because it does have a link to the green pool itself if you wanted to stake your EWT tokens. And there's also information on how to do that as well. I'm not going to go through that in much detail right now, because I think it's important that you guys click through the correct links, etc. One thing to mention though is that the silver and the gold pools unfortunately are not going to be starting as of this week as they said they would. This is postponed to Q1 2023. There is no definitive date right now, but it is basically a bit of a backlash from the community in regards to the maximum rewards that were potentially available based on certain staking period days and whatnot. And I think that was maybe because of the crossover of the old one finishing and the new one beginning. So it's not the end of the world, because people can still, I personally have put all mine into the green pool. You can unstake at any time. And I'm just going to wait till the silver and golds are available. I just wanted to take advantage of some form of APY in this interim period. So just to remind you really that is on the cards in the near future, and just to keep an eye out for that, because obviously the percentage APYs are a lot better on the gold and silver packages if you manage to get that criteria of a snapshot from the consortia EWT staking that's been happening last year. If you haven't got over those, so you can actually go straight into the green pool itself, regardless of whether you have staked EWT before or not. So that's a really big bonus for those that are out there that are holding EWT or about to accumulate EWT and get involved straight away with the green pool. As I said, check out the instructions on this Medium article from EnergyWeb X. And this will basically have the information that you need to acquire for getting involved on that. And just to reiterate again, the silver and gold pool are not available now. It will be due in Q1 2023 at some point. So we'll keep you guys updated on that, and there's the confirmation of that as well. Something to do with the new auditing and new smart contract that needs to be done for that as well. So that's the first bit of news. The other bit of news was really interesting. EnergyWeb joins the Hyperledger Foundation to accelerate Web3 interoperability. Now, those that don't know about Hyperledger Foundation, you may have heard of things like the Hyperledger Fabric. These are very much like enterprise level driven blockchain frameworks. The likes of IBM, Accenture, Microsoft are utilizing through these avenues. And it's very interesting actually if you get a chance to have a look through this. So in particular with EnergyWeb, they are utilizing the Hyperledger Firefly. This is very much trying to integrate this interoperable factor of variations within different companies, different service solutions and things like this. So there's a really big API drive here. This is very important for applying things like the carbon credits, the moving and trading of energy, both as we talk about the prosumer element, for example, in the past, allowing businesses to transfer carbon to each other, as well as integrating systems within their own remits of business to determine how sustainable they are, where the energy is coming from, to and from as well. So it's a bit of a big framework being built here, utilizing the technology that Hyperledger Foundation is already creating. And bear in mind, the amount of participants and the amount of members that are already part of Hyperledger Foundation is quite phenomenal. And as I said, also do check out Hyperledger Fabric. This is really interesting, and I do follow this very heavily. And as I said, there's big companies involved in that already significantly. But this is where you start seeing a lot of the traditional companies out there, like the ones we just mentioned, being integrated into Web3. Whether they don't have the infrastructure or the people or the resource to do it themselves, and they're incorporating this new technology through this kind of system and organization, this is certainly one way that you're going to see this adoption kick in a lot more and a lot faster, especially when it's away from retail investors, when it's away from general public. Hyperledger is not really talked about a lot, and I'm quite surprised by that. We've done a few videos on this in the past. It's definitely, as I said, worth having a look through all of this, because you'll find out so much more information, and actually how much stuff is hidden from us, or like perhaps not into our knowledge stream or mainstream knowledge stream, etc., because it's not really something you can invest in. It's just enterprise level, built mainly through Linux, I believe, and many other platforms. And this is where all the existing traditional companies are kind of going through, to be honest. So at some point, yeah, of course, I'm sure they'll integrate some of the chains that we all know and love and know very well. But in grand scheme of things, you can imagine that we've got a bit of a circus going on with crypto at the moment, right, in the market. But actually in the real world, this has already been integrated at a very highly professional integrated level. So just thought I'd put that point out there. But yeah, this part here is quite interesting. So specifically, EnergyWeb will contribute towards enterprise interoperability, as we mentioned just a minute ago. Our word enterprise is very important. Web3 solutions via the Hyperledger Firefly. Interoperability between different blockchains and identity solutions has emerged as a top priority for EnergyWeb, as the organization begins constructing solutions that leverage multiple technologies from different enterprise and Web3 ecosystems. So it's very interesting. And as I said, check out the partners and the integration partners that are already on Hyperledger and through all its various different protocols and frameworks, because this is how I believe it's going to be transitioning over the next 5-10 years significantly. So that's just really important to understand that EnergyWeb has now got its foot in the door via Hyperledger and will be integrating and certainly working alongside all of these huge companies that we've known for many years, decades even in some cases. So just have a look through that as well. I'll leave that link in the description below. I'll keep the updates short and sweet for this video. Let's jump straight into the chart for EWT, because we've had a couple of movements over the last couple of weeks that we want to pick our brains on. So as you can see on the chart, $3 is currently the floating average price right now for EWT as of the last 24 hours or so. We're currently playing along with prices we haven't really seen since May this year. Just get rid of these adverts. So if we crawl back in time a bit, we can start seeing this huge gap that we saw here between the time frames of May and around August this year respectively. We've had a nice jump ups, especially with the announcements that have happened over this period of time. More recently was the Amazon node integration as well, which is another topic that's certainly something to talk about in the next video, because I want to do a bit more research into how far down the line that is. But yeah, certainly something of great interest that's come out in the last couple of weeks. But in terms of where we're going with EWT, I think in general with the whole market, of course, we're still in this bear market, arguably still not found the full bottom yet. I don't think this is fully confirmed at all. And I still think that the next few months are going to have some really crazy activity all over the place, to be honest, in the crypto sphere. I think there's not enough confidence and there's not enough money to keep it afloat massively. And I do think a lot of the assets will still come down lower. Now, as you see back here, between this May and August period, we did see the low regions of $2. I do think we will come back down to these sort of regions again, because we need to test them. We need to verify them as support mechanism and levels, right? In my honest opinion, this area is not enough data and information to suggest that we are ready to go up. And in fact, that is proven pretty much here, where we accelerated EWT with its price point jumping from around $2.3 all the way up to 4.5 pretty much, which is quite phenomenal really. You have this kind of bounce off effect of profit taking, and then another increase as mass adoption kicks in again, and FOMO and interest in it. And then obviously it tails back off, and what you start to see is because there is no support at this level, we do get, in general, guys, these kind of like moves don't necessarily go up and down straight away within 24, 48 hours all the time. You do get those spikes, but in general, when you've had such a big uptake, it tends to sometimes take a bit of time to gradualize itself down to what I guess I would call like the sustainable level, or indeed a level that's reflective on where it should be based on its whole entire life cycle, the data and the algorithm of what everyone's doing investment wise. Okay, so as we can see, we've had this big jump up, penetrated straight through these top areas that we saw back in June, and it did start touching in areas that we saw around March to April time, beginning of this year, and we couldn't quite get past those, right? So what happens is we tail ourselves back down, and then we get the rejections of the big areas. So if you look back here, 11th August, bang on this point, you'll see that as we took the move back down, this was an interesting area of support, or certainly on the fib retracement around $3.70. It couldn't hold it. And before you know it, we dropped straight back down to these areas where we saw a lot of, I wouldn't call volatility, but certainly a lot of action around this particular area, around $2.8. Okay. A bit of interest came back in because of the information around the staking pools, around the information of all the EWT announcements that came out. So EWT is actually one of those good assets that you can get a lot of fluctuation if you know, like maybe a day or two in advance of news that might be coming out from EnergyWeb somehow. It is something that you could take good advantage of because the values are reasonably higher than a lot of the other assets out there. So you do get a lot of extra kind of like profit abilities in short periods of time, and that's very evident certainly over the last few months. But what that also does mean is that we get kind of like a skewed visual, if you like, of where the price point should be. So we came back down to this area, and then obviously, as I said, with the announcements, we're now dragging ourselves back down to here, and this is where I think we'll get a bit of fluctuation around this sort of $280 mark down to sort of maybe towards this sort of 260 mark. I think there'll be a lot of up and down movement over the next month, in my honest opinion, and I think this could then drag us back down to these lower regions of $2, and this is where we'll start to really test this. If we are really ruthless with this, we could argue that actually maybe we need to go below this $2 mark to really define that this $2 mark in general is definitively a support mechanism. Because what we don't want to do is see a massive, like maybe even a mini bull cycle at some point in the near future, for it to then just completely crash down. We want to start building momentum and support and stability in this asset. And bear in mind, if we look back, way back into 2021, we'll see the top highs here of around $23. I do anticipate EWT to potentially be something around like $100 to $200 by 2025, simply because of the adoption, the technology that is providing, the solution that it's providing, and now obviously with all these other integrations going in place as well. I think people are going to really step up their game and understanding of the energy sector. It's almost untouched in my opinion, and it's something that people don't really think about. We're talking about trillions of dollars, carbon trading. The ability to do that through Web3 technology is quite significant and going to change the way that we as domestic users and enterprise business levels change their philosophies on sustainability and how they use energy, where they get it from, the traceability, the verification of it, the transparency, all of these things. And that's why we see EV cars, electric cars, are very important in this mechanism as well. As that market keeps growing, more and more EV cars will be on Web3 grids. It's simple as that. And the EnergyWeb is one of those top ones that is leading the way. You only have to look at like the Vodafone integrations, the SIM card integrations with the EV cars recently. And in fact, there's a really cool video out, I think in the last day or two, from EnergyWeb, where they do a little breakdown of that mechanism working as well. I think we covered that around about last year as well, but they have some updated videos out there as well too. So this project, guys, isn't going anywhere. It's going to have a phenomenal future, but my main point about this movement in the chart right now and the lower regions is to try and accumulate this as low as possible. I still think anything under sort of $10 for EWT in the long run is absolutely phenomenal still, but to have them at potentially $2 or even maybe even just under the $2 would be absolutely phenomenal. Think of the return just to get to that original top point of $23, let alone where it could go beyond that. And there's some phenomenal gains to be had, and certainly a lot of profit taking in the time to come. If you see the performance indicators on the right hand side here, 17% down on the week, and that's kind of confirmed as well, these RSIs. And to my point, if you look here, currently floating at 34 on the 14 day, 28 day on the 41. So this is actually, in my opinion, and something I've been doing personally over the last 48 hours, is buying manually at these areas. But I do have the sort of bigger buy opportunities just under that, just over the $2 mark and just under it as well. And that's where I've got bigger capital to invest into EWT at those areas. But right now, on the DCA aspect, this is a really interesting area as well. And especially as it's under 40 on the 14 day, is a really good trigger point for me to think, well, okay, if this turns around, as I mentioned earlier about the announcement fluctuation, if the announcement comes out in the next couple of weeks or indeed the next month, you've got a good position there from a lower region of gain opportunity if you're a day or a weekly trader. I don't do that. I'm holding all mine in staking. I'm accumulating as much as possible for the years to come. It's as simple as that. But those that are day trading or week trading may want to have a look at a bit more detail in that. So that's very much wrapped up most of EWT. 70% still down on the year, which is still significant. But again, a massive opportunity here to really break even at some point in the future, but also take that into a green positive momentum above that as well. We could see maybe in the next cycles sort of well above $50 if the momentum kicks in, the information is out there, staking pools are going to be up and running. I think it's going to be a really exciting time. So guys, thanks very much for watching this one. We're going to cover a couple more videos today. Obviously the next couple of days are going to be pretty busy because of the festive period, but we'll for sure be delivering as many videos as possible. Let us know in the comments below if you're holding EWT. Have you got yourselves involved in the green pool? If not, why not? If so, brilliant. Are you enjoying that? And are you looking forward to the silver and golds if you manage to get to that criteria as well? Let us know. We will catch you guys with the next EWT video very soon. Thanks for watching this one. Take care. Bye bye.